There are certain things that we grow up around, and for the most part, this just seems normal to us. Because as a new human on Earth, what else do you have to go off of than what's going on around you? Most of us just adapt to our circumstances and accept that reality as our own. But for one TikToker, she discovered that not everyone can barely hear things. But before we get into today's video, we need you guys to do us a big favor and smash that like button to show some love to the channel. With that out of the way, let's just dive right into today's story. So Helen here grew up believing that barely being able to hear was normal because she had no clue that anyone else's hearing was any different. I mean, my hearing is terrible, but that's from going to too many concerts and standing too close to too many speakers. In her video that has since been viewed more than 2 million times, Helen explains that she grew up in a school district that carried out hearing tests every single year. She continued by saying, "For as long as I can remember, I was failing those tests, but they would always ask me one question after them. Have you been sick within the last few weeks?" According to Helen, she was always getting a little bit sick when she was younger, so she would often say yes, and as a result, the response would usually be, "Oh well, then I guess your sinuses are probably just clogged up." The first time she heard this at 12 years old, she just took the school's word for it because, like I said, what other information would she have available to compare? Although this same thing kept happening every single year right up until she was in her sophomore year of high school. At 16 years old though, she finally realized that something else may be going on. She goes on to say, "This year I get called up to the nurse's office after the initial hearing test where my nurse is like, 'Hey, you failed the hearing test.' She then adds that she told the nurse what else is new and that she had been failing them every year, which resulted in a second test that Helen failed again. Following the failure of 2 hearing tests at her school, Helen consulted with her parents and was then sent to a primary care doctor who did another hearing test that she also failed. From there she was sent to an audiologist, tested again, and failed again. To make things clear that Helen was deaf, the doctors also tried to use fancier tests, as she put it. Helen said that they began shooting super loud noises into her ears and then began measuring something inside of her head. A very helpful user in her comment section explained that this was most likely a test for auditory brainstem response. This test is often used as an objective measurement for how brainstems respond to sound. Helen goes on to say, "I failed it worse than before, so I had no diagnosis yet, other than that my hearing is worse than I thought, but I don't know why." Now after all of this drama, she was finally taken to an ENT specialist who diagnosed her with otosclerosis, which is a condition that can cause mild to severe hearing loss. Helen explained her diagnosis and said, "The bones in my ears that are supposed to conduct sound aren't conducting sound properly." And because of this, she was given 2 options. She can either have a hearing aid or have surgery to replace the bone, but that surgery can often be dangerous. I mean, in some cases, people have been left completely deaf afterwards. So understanding the potential risks, Helen decided to go with the hearing aids. She signed off her video by acknowledging her new community and said, "I love my hearing aids and I love being part of the deaf community." I mean, we're just happy that she finally has solved the mystery of her hearing. That can be a scary thing when you find out that you've been living a totally different way than your peers, and it becomes even more daunting when you find out that it's due to an untreated medical condition. So kudos to Helen for being brave enough to get through this whole ordeal. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "TikTok influencer apologizes, KSI gets called out, and Anthony Mackie cancelled." But not really. Cheryl Pierce says, "This generation should be called Generation C. Cancelled. Everyone has a right, but no responsibility." Very true. I like Generation C. That's a good one. Stacy Simpson says, "As usual, you are the best, Johnny. Keep rocking it and we'll keep watching it." Stacy, don't worry. That only took me 67 times to reply to that one comment. So I am slightly rocking it. Sugabuka says, "Hello, Io. Love from Chicago." Oh, much love to Chicago. I love Chi-Town. Hope you're doing well. Oi says, "Haha, 69th like." You did it. You really did it. Tiffany Benefield says, "I would freak out if either of my Dachshunds experiences, but we'd never leave anything out for them to do this with." That is a very responsible dog owner. And that has been today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube. And was then, sorry, I burped on every video. Now after all of this drama, she was finally taken to an ENT specialist who diagnosed her, diagnosed, Johnny. It's not even the word I was stuck on. So, oh man, it's not COVID, just cigarettes. God, my brain is melting as well.